Hello and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Katie and today I'm joined by Chloe and Ellie. Coming up on this week's episode, we'll be sharing our thoughts on Elon Musk buying Twitter, plus we'll discuss how you should be creating reactionary content. In case you missed it last week, but I'm sure you haven't, Elon Musk has bought Twitter for a staggering $44 billion. So this week we thought it'd be fun to talk about what apps or social media platforms we'd like to buy. Ellie, do you want to go first?
Yes. So, as the resident millennial, should I call myself millennial? Is that?
Oh no,
I
you're
think
a
you're
Gen Z.
Am I Gen Z?
Yeah, you're
Don't
with
even
me.
try.
You're in Gen Z.
Okay, I'm Gen Z. I use Snapchat. I think I'm pretty much the only one on the Giraffe team who does. So I'm really outing myself here. But I definitely, if I had that sort of wealth, I would invest in Snapchat. I think it's got a lot of untapped potential, and also has the ability to stretch across a wide audience from kids in school to even your grandparents, because like I've said before, I think that my grandparents especially would love flicking through the filters. They'd be on that for hours. So it's endless entertainment for all ages. You cannot go wrong. I was also saying to the girls offline, or off the podcast, however you say it, about the new social media app Be Real, where you can basically get a notification every single day at a random time, and then you just take a photo there on the spot, of whatever you're doing. So it's kind of unfiltered, without the sort of pressure that you kind of get from Instagram, maybe even Facebook. And I feel like that's a great avenue that Snapchat could also go down.
Yeah, I love Be Real. I've been seeing it everywhere, and I think like Snapchat, I bet they wish they kind of thought of this first because it's so similar.
Hmm.
And I think Snapchat already kind of has this authentic, raw feel to it that TikTok does, but maybe it's not as established in its purpose yet. Like, as
Yeah.
far as I know, the kids just use it to keep up their streaks, and that's about it. So I think this would be a really good way to kind of use Snapchat more productively. Not that you need to be productive on social media. And yeah, like just, continue sharing stuff with your friends, but maybe having these prompts so that it's almost a bit of a gamification as opposed to something that you can just use to message one another.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thing is though, like I hadn't heard of Be Real until like you brought it to me, Ellie, and I was like, what is this? But like you said, Chloe, like again, it's just Snapchat being like a little bit behind the wave. Like it's just like something that would be a perfect concept for them, but someone else thought of it first. And I think that's just like the story of Snapchat now. But like with your business takeover, Ellie, like who knows? You could girl wash your way to the top with it.
Honestly, the opportunities are endless now that I'm in power. So all the other social media platforms need to watch out for me.
Honestly, Snapchat having a resurgence would be amazing.
Definitely. Well, yeah, you guys are the resident Gen Zers on the podcast, and I would like to class myself as a bit of a zillennial, but my
Ooh.
millennial side will be showing when I pitch my platform takeover. So with my $44 billion, I propose that I'm gonna buy MySpace. And I never actually had MySpace, so I don't know what it was. But I saw a TikTok the other day, and this user was saying that now would be the perfect time for us to revive MySpace.
Oh god,
Because
yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like the culture of making things a bit joogy or tacky, and having your list of closest friends, I think it just calls for it. And the pandemic would have been an
Yeah.
awesome time to do that.
Mhm.
And I would love it to be a place where celebrities come and have a chance to be a bit more authentic with us. Like imagine Harry Styles on there promoting his album, or Kim Kardashian listing her top best friends, and when someone gets kicked off, that sets up the new season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like I just think it's just the perfect time for it, and it would give me a chance to be able to use it, because I think I was just a bit behind on that, and never used it back in the day. But yeah, would you guys jump back on MySpace if I revived
Oh,
it?
100%. Like, I used to have Bebo. I don't know if you guys remember Bebo.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Similar vein to MySpace. Not quite as good, probably. But like, I don't know, I just miss the energy there, and I feel like a combo of MySpace and TikTok, like that's just like the power couple that we never expected, but could be, especially with like Ellie's buyout of Snapchat. Like, can you imagine the possibilities? And I think as well, like what people will absolutely love, like you were saying, Chloe, is like the personalization of it. I think people want to like brand stuff a lot more now, like not even in like an official way. Like everyone's kind of got their brand now.
Totally.
And like to be able to go in and change like basically the entire appearance of the interface, like why would you not want to do that? I want to do that.
Yeah.
Every time I only have the option to change my profile picture or cover photo, I'm like, I want more.
Totally. I mean, we were saying off mic that I would love to turn MySpace kind of almost into the new LinkedIn, and it would be like exclusively for social media managers, because we all know how much we love to stylize things and, you know, have our own personal branding. And I think that would be so cool. And it just, you're right, like it gives you more opportunity to show off, you know, add a little bit of flair, a little bit of pizzazz, and make it your own, which I just don't get with LinkedIn at the moment.
I totally agree. And like in a similar vein of buying something to bring it back or bring it back to its full potential, I'm going for Tumblr. I was a Tumblr teen. I was in the fandoms. Super Hulock, the girls who get it. And I just it was bought out like years and years ago, and that just like ruined the entire platform, and like everyone jumped ship because everything just went to like commercial and everything. Whereas I'm gonna pull an Uno reverse card, right? I'm gonna put my money in, buy Tumblr, like bring it back to its former glory.
Totally.
Like get all the fandoms back, get all the artists back, get everyone back who was on there before, make it like that fun space that like, oh, I miss it daily. I miss it.
Yes, we could have a whole revival sort of era in the 2020s, and then all of the Gen Zers who never had a chance to use MySpace or Tumblr, they get a chance to jump on this cool retro app, and then all of us, you know, us older folk, have a chance to relive the glory days. And that is a massive market. You know, Ellie's got her grandparents joining Snapchat. Who isn't going to be on social media by the time we're done with it?
Exactly.
Now we've just got to work out how to get at least $44 billion.
If anyone would like to invest in reviving and revival culture, please send us a DM on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll be setting up a crowdfunding page soon, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch this space. Although an alternative platform that I'd like to buy is Instagram, just so then I can understand the algorithm.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That would be great. Just to talk some sense into Adam over at Instagram and say, no one wants reels. We've got an app for that. I would revive it back to what it once was. It would be chronological order. Reels
even back to like the old logo.
I'm not sure
I miss the old logo.
Let's just buy out Apple. And then bring back the old app frames, and then once, with that money that we've accumulated, buy out all the platforms and
I mean, clearly Elon Musk was thinking too small there. Like we would have spent that money better.
Definitely.
Cool. So that's the platforms that we'd buy. Let us know what you would have chosen at Giraffe SN. So, now it's time for our tips and tricks segment, where we share what we've learned in the world of social media and how you can apply it to your social strategy. This week, we're going to be breaking down creating reactionary content. So whether it's pop culture references or reacting to news, creating reactionary content can be a great way to insert your brand into the conversation. So have you guys got any tips you'd like to share? I know when we were discussing this beforehand, Chloe, it sounded like you had some great ideas.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I guess my main tip is that you should really know your brand inside and out if you want to kind of participate in reactionary content. I think you kind of have to look inside yourself and understand, first of all, what your audience wants. I think there's nothing worse than, well, I can think of things worse, but I hate seeing brands post, memes that are about or jump on trends that almost, me who maybe isn't a customer can tell that that's not really them. So I think that's super important, but to also know your brand well enough that you have the confidence to participate, because news doesn't stick around for long. These trends don't stick around for long. I feel like the trend cycle is getting shorter and shorter, and things come as quick as they go. So I think it's important that you have the confidence in yourself, and perhaps if you're a social media manager or a freelancer, that the brand that you work for has the confidence in you, that you almost don't have to get approval, because the approval process can absolutely kill your reactionary content, and it can turn it to really PC. So I think that's super important. And to give you, I guess, an actionable tip on how to do this, perhaps you can set up a content calendar. I know we social media managers bloody love a content calendar, but just marking down, events and things that are coming up in the year that always produce that content. Like the Oscars is a great example in this year. If you didn't know they were on, you would have missed out on one very big thing to come out of that. But the Grammys, movie premieres, things like that, marking that in your calendar so that you have time to prepare beforehand, as much as you can. We can't predict what memes are going to come out of things, but yeah, just making sure you're on top of it that way, so that you can kind of check yourself and know whether that's going to be right for you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think as well, if you are scheduling or pre-scheduling content and having a content calendar, making space for ad hoc content as well, because we can't predict the news cycle, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be news. And just making sure that you've got that space where you can insert yourself into the conversation, but like you said, Chloe, making sure that it does fit in with your brand, and if it doesn't necessarily fit in with your brand, find a way for it to fit in with your brand. I mean, for an example, I don't know if you guys follow Koi Footwear on Instagram. No, but quite often they'll link up with big events and that, and be like, oh, look at these people wearing our shoes on the red carpet, and it's just poorly photoshopped on shoes on these celebrities' feet. So it really draws you in, and I think if you can create some humor behind it as well,
yes,
obviously that always helps.
I love that is such a cool idea.
Honestly, Koi Footwear, their social media marketing, if you haven't checked them out, check them out, because they're doing a great job.
I mean, one thing I was also going to say and jump on is one campaign that I kind of see every single year that works really well is Love Island, and brands jumping on the Love Island hype.
Yes.
And you can kind of link it. It has it doesn't have to be overcomplicated, but you can link it into kind of your sales and pushing sales. So for example, in the style, I remember a scenario a few years ago where one of the girls was in a couple with a guy, and then he came back with another girl from Casa Amor, and straight after that aired, and it was a whole fiasco. In the style tweeted being we stand with you. I think her name was Shana, however you say it, to show your support.
I know exactly what you're talking
We've
about.
We've given here's a 20% off code if you use "We love Shauna" or "We stand with you, Shauna" or something like that.
Oh my god, I love that.
And obviously everyone's yeah, we love that, because they're all against this guy. So it's a great example of reactive content whilst also boosting their product sales. So I think it's a really great way to do it.
Definitely. Yeah. I actually think I love that our suggestions so far have been to sort of pre-plan reactionary content. So I think another really cool thing that a lot of brands have started to do, and I think this is largely thanks to TikTok and Twitter culture actually, is to kind of create your own. If it's been a slow week in the news cycle, and things are getting a bit stale. I love how social media managers are beginning to put themselves kind of at the forefront of their the social media feeds and of their branding and their marketing. And I've seen so many TikToks and tweets recently where you're like, how many social media managers can we get commenting on this, or how many brands can we get jumping on this thread? And I think Aldi tweeted, it must have been today or yesterday, just ahead of the long weekend we're about to go into, where they said, our social media manager's out of office for the weekend. Who wants to take care of the Aldi
Yeah,
Twitter?
I saw that.
Yeah, and they just had they tagged a few brands, but then of course every social media manager from every Aldi Twitter really is the best. Just jumped on, and they were making memes, dropping things about the whole Cuthbert the caterpillar.
Oh, free Cuthbert.
Yeah. Talking about how Audi's very good at replicating well-known brands and putting out similar products, and it was just really great. And like that in itself is kind of reactive content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're generating a bit of buzz and jumping onto things, and almost giving an opportunity for other social media managers to jump on it too. So it's a win-win for everyone.
So there's our tips for creating reactionary content. Hopefully you'll still be able to create reactionary content on Twitter, even though Elon Musk has now bought it. Well, that's all we've got time for today. If you enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you'd like to leave us a review on your favourite podcast app, we'd really appreciate it. We've been Giraffe Social Media, you've been amazing, and we'll see you next time.